Hello and welcome to dojolive this Tuesday, November 12th, 2024. I am your host, Kim Lantis, and it is my pleasure to welcome back Rana Saad, founder and CEO of Tuzmo. Hey, Rana.
Hey Kim, how are you? And
Hello.
how are your audience?
We're doing really well. It is so good to see you. This is what we're calling our Tuzmo Take Two, because this is the second time you've been able to join us on the show. Our first conversation, we explored how you are connecting travelers with authentic local artisans for, I love this, an immersive cultural experience. Today, we're going to be diving a bit deeper into Tuzmo, how you're expanding on your technology, your plans for growth, and of course, what's next on the horizon. So let's just rewind a little tiny bit, kick things off by sharing again for the audience who may not have caught that first show, a bit about your background, please. Remind us what inspired you to create Tuzmo and what your kind of core mission is. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kim, for having me and the entire Dojo Live team for having me on the show again. I really enjoyed my first time talking to you and the team, and it's a wonderful platform. Kudos to you for continuing to spread the good in travel around the world. I'm a big fan of the platform. So thank you for having me again. And to answer your question, what inspired me was what inspires every traveler to travel. When we travel, we want to connect, we want to take back memories that last us beyond the trip. So we are not people used to travel for visiting, places only. Which is still part of the mission for travel, but people do want to bring back something, typically memories that can continually connect them with the place forever in the future. And the best way to do that is to make cultural connections, and that's something that inspiration specifically came for me personally from years of travel as a technology consultant in my prior life, or in my my work experience. I went around the world, and just to be precise, I've been to about 98 countries right now. And
I think that number has grown. I don't think it was 98 the last time
yeah,
we
it was
talked.
in the
I think
low
it was
90s
like
or late 80s when we last met, and it's growing, and
amazing.
we're touching 100 here. And actually, it is 100 depending on which territories you count as countries, right? So, but UN recognized entities, 98 of them, and and whenever I traveled, I always wanted to bring back something authentic. Typically, it would be like a piece of craft, authentic local craft. But that authentic, quote unquote, authentic was always a problem. Finding the right artisan, the right person
The
who.
infamous made in China sticker.
Yeah, exactly. No offense to the country of China, but a lot of the stuff that we buy at the airports or the hotels or even at the gift shops, at the craft shops, so-called craft shops, are really not made there or not handmade. So we started looking at what makes that, and it's not just the item, the product, or the widget. It's really the story behind it and the maker behind it, which really connects you to the culture. So ideally, and the model we started to build was is there a way that we can connect the tourists and travelers with the local, with the people who are producing those artifacts, not the people who are selling those artifacts. And
Right.
typically they are not one and the same. So that led us into being a technologist to see if there is an existing solution to it or not, which there wasn't. Because if you think about Etsy's and Amazons of the world, they do sell crafts, so-called crafts, but they are mass-produced crafts, and typically not, even if they're handmade, they are not meant to be unique and not hugely cultural. They're meant for mass consumption. So
Yeah.
completely different markets. So our focus then became cultural experiences and handmade crafts, which are authentic, which are unique, and they tell a story. So there are a lot of requirements that we put around it. And we were so happy. We were so glad to know that there was a big demand or big acceptance of that when we started talking to people, especially destinations. We started talking to started going to the travel shows, trade shows, tourism shows, and started talking to tourism ministries, boards of boards of tourism, tourism boards, and things like that from around the world. And at the highest level, we were told this is what we need, and we would love to have a product like this. So that's when we built, right before COVID. We started building it, and then during COVID, obviously, being a travel product, we had to slow it down a little bit. But since then, we've been welcomed with open arms around the world, and we're just busy building the technology, building the content for it, and the inspiration, the new inspiration comes from our success and the happiness we create around the world.
Absolutely. And how amazing that you've also found that niche of who to speak to kind of get on board behind this mission. And I think it's because of those ministries of tourism of fill in the blank country are
Mhm.
also interested in the welfare of their people, right? And I think that comes
Absolutely.
into my first question here about diversifying artisan income. I think you mentioned that a lot of the times the ones who are selling it are not the ones who are creating it. And so I imagine there's a gap and there's a salary gap, even an inequality or a fairness gap that exists. I'm curious if you could sort of share on any updates or new plans for expanding on or even providing additional revenue streams for these individuals, the makers, and maybe in terms of, I don't know, workshops, guided experiences, um, any other kind of paid interactions that kind of exist out there?
Yeah, 100%. That's actually the what I call the pivot since the last time we spoke. Last time we spoke, we were entirely focused on the platform allowing the artisans to sell their crafts directly to the tourists. That was in itself was a disruption, was an innovation that was very meaningful. But soon enough, we realized that there is a bigger opportunity, which is to allow the artisans to tell their story and be and actually focus the platform around experiences instead of
Mhm.
products, or in addition to the products. We don't want to take away the ability to sell or buy the products from the platform, but we realize the bigger value is in the storytelling part and also the cultural experiences part. So now the platform has been updated to allow the artisans, when we collect their profiles, to tell their story in their own language, in their own words. And then later on, when we talk about technology, I'll share with you how we've used AI and other new tools to really make the raw information we gather them into very useful cultural information and data that uh, uh, tourists can use to really enrich their experience of
Mhm.
the place and meeting the artisan. So to answer your question, we've evolved into from a product selling platform to a cultural experiences platform, probably the only one in the world, probably the unique one for this one, because of our focus on exclusively on cultural experiences, and our focus on exclusively on curating and storytelling, which
Mhm.
no other platform in the world is doing at the level that we are doing.
I love it. And then I think there's that extension. You mentioned that the selling is still maybe not the core, right, anymore, but it's the offshoot of that. And we had talked about the e-commerce side a bit, I think, on our previous conversation.
Mhm.
Are there new features as well or plans? Like, I believe we were talking about the ability to direct purchase or even the sort of post travel option. Maybe I don't have the space in my suitcase, or I'm not going directly home from here. I'm going to be, going to a different country. What does that look like also in terms of extending that experience into the
Yeah,
future?
yeah, absolutely. So that is there now, 100%, which is ability for the tourist to after the experience, or even without booking an experience, to use the platform as an purely e-commerce, a ship to my home feature,
Mhm.
use it to that effect. And in addition to that, we've added a lot of sort of um, features which allow what we call the suggestion engine. So we are using very smart AI technology, as well as the profiles, both of the buyer and the seller, to make sure we do the matching, because at the end of the day we are a search and matching platform, and we
Mm-hmm.
are, in addition to the storytelling part of it. So we want to make our content tell the story, but also use what we know about the traveler, the tourist, as well as the artisan, to make the right match. And it's an ongoing improvement process. We are continuously working using the latest tools now available. We feel very lucky. We are doing it at a time when all of these the learning models are there, learning
Mm.
models, LLMs are there. The ability to translate between languages is there in real time. So we are putting all of that into our platform. It may not be
Wow.
there on day one when somebody downloads it, but trust me, our team is busy experimenting with these and trying to make these experiences, even before the tourist goes to the artisans workshop to do the experience. We are already employing a lot of technology to make their experience, or the upcoming experience, very unique.
I love that. When you mentioned your platform, is this available mostly on the web or mobile? Both? What's Are they
all
hand in
all
hand
three. So
or?
it's on the all the both Android and Apple app stores, as well as the web platform. And I'm happy to share that we are one of the first cultural experiences partners of Google Things to Do. So we are available from Google Things to Do platform as a content
Wow.
provider for, and we just are going live with them in 5 countries, and that's going to scale very, very rapidly as soon as we test our initial destinations. We have 47 other countries that we have data on, and that we are ready to go live in. So when we go live in a country, we focus on quality, not the quantity. So we may not have
Wow.
thousands of artisans from that place. We may have a few to start with, but those will be very high quality artisans. And the idea is to focus on authenticity and quality initially, and by hopefully by that inspire other artisans of the similar quality and standard, and overall, represent the best cultural aspects of the country one at a time. That's our mission.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up in terms of the quality over quantity. And I think the sort of vetting component or the trust component, particularly for the traveler, I think when you're going to a place that's so far from home and so unknown to you, that I think it's natural to perhaps be concerned about safety and other elements. And I
Mhm.
know we brought up safety a bit on the last conversation. I believe this was also a space that you were looking to grow in, that kind of guidance piece for users. Have you expanded on the approach to, safety, security, accessibility? What does that
Yeah,
look like?
absolutely. That's central to a platform like ours, because we are trying to, now with the experiences side, we are trying to bring the tourists to where the artisans workshops and their, which are typically in villages and not so
Right.
touristy areas, right? So that's a challenge as well as an opportunity. Opportunity from the standpoint of, it really uplifts those communities. It's actually one of the best ways to diversify tourism geographically, and
Mm-hmm.
allow to address the problem of over tourism that we hear about these days so frequently in very touristy countries or
Right.
destinations. This is a great way to spread out tourism beyond the hotspots, right? But it brings in
Mm-hmm.
its own challenges or new demands, which is, and you pointed out, the safety and security of the tourist or the buyer. So we've done many things in which are new in the platform since the last time we spoke. First is, we did talk about it before, but we have a very rigorous verification system now in place, which we do through our local representatives. Whichever country we go live in, we have a local associate or a country manager or whatever that role is. And part of their role is to ensure that we personally visit every single artisan and ensure that they are in a safe place and they are providing a safe destination for the artisans and the tourists to meet, as well
Mhm.
as that there is that there's accessibility, safety, and all of those aspects, and we check all the boxes. Um,
Absolutely. Because it's
and
in no one's interest for there to be an
exactly.
incident. Exactly.
Yeah. Secondly, we've within the product itself, we've developed what we call a smart journey mapping, and that includes features like real time location, just like on an Uber or something. Is
Hmm.
very
Hmm.
similar feature that one or one's loved ones can track where they are at the moment, right? And they can share it with their friends or family, so it's known.
Does
Uh,
that link to socials? I mean, because if it doesn't, it should. So I can immediately, push to
it is
Insta or
shareable
something like, look what
on
I'm doing.
yeah, it is shareable, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, exactly, it can be used for bragging as well. And then we also have what we call verified safe meeting points. If we feel when we meet the artisan that their location is not exactly totally safe, or maybe in a secure location, then we work with the artisan to create the workshop in a different place. And a lot of governments and destinations provide us those spaces. Some have what they call artisan villages. Some have
Mhm.
cooperative spaces. Some have their ministries or tourism boards have very nice spaces for the artisans to come and work and do their workshops in. So we use that. Also, within the app we share what we call the emergency contact information for local authorities. Every country has their own way of emergency handling, so we provide that very prominently in the app, and also any medical facilities in the area. So
Mhm.
that sort of mapping we do within the app, so a tourist going to a place know exactly what's around them if an emergency arises.
Wow, it seems like there's nothing that you have not thought of. I absolutely love this. And going back to not relying on one to think of everything, but the ability to tap into AI, to machine learning. I was curious if you're also utilizing this to obtain feedback, maybe both from the traveler as well as the artisan to enhance your platform, strengthen those connections. What does that look like?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we, like any other two-sided marketplace, we have to collect the feedback or reviews. So there are public reviews, and then we also try to collect private feedback from the especially the travelers, but also from artisans through
Mhm.
our country representatives, which is visiting them often and is also providing them support. If they need support from us. But the travelers and tourists, we are very frequently touching base with them. First, as soon as the trip or the experience ends, we ask them to provide a review of their experience, and in addition to the public review, we also ask for a private, review if they want to say something to help improve the platform. Just like you said, that's our
Mhm.
main tool, main way, the best, or probably the best way for us to continue to improve when we listen to our tourists, our travelers, who are telling us what will work for them. We are already doing that outside of the platform as well. When we go to these trade shows and conferences and meet a bunch of destinations and even potential tourists, our first question to them always is, if you had a platform like this, what would you want in that one? and uh,
Mm.
and a lot of features that you see are coming from that feedback.
I get it. It's absolutely smart. I would like to lean in to a
Hmm.
bit more of the heart
Hmm.
inside of Tuzmo, but before we do, I was
Hmm.
just curious if there's anything else about the tech side that you'd like to mention, how you've evolved over this past year. I know
Sure.
data, cloud, AI, like we touched on, specifically Gen AI
Yeah.
is a real big buzzword, and also
Yeah.
you mentioned some awards, I think.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd love to brag. No, just kidding. No, in
I'm all about it.
technology, in technology, we are. you're right. We have to, and it's not that we are following the buzz. It's actually a need of ours, because we are a storytelling platform, and Gen AI tools are perfect for a platform like that, right? Imagine a platform where people are telling their stories in a raw format in hundreds of languages around the world, right? And you want to make something cohesive out of that, and you want to make something that everybody understands, and
I
you
love it.
pick up themes from that, and you share that the global sort of delight and joy and things like that. So it fits very, very well. So we've given it a name. We call it cultural context AI, and that's the
Culture contest
yeah,
AI.
context,
Okay.
culture context.
Context. Sorry. Got
So,
it.
so AI. So what happens is, we collect stories from artisans. We ask them to record their own story, in like shortest format, three to 5 minutes, in their own language. So then AI does the magic after that, right? So then we not only use AI to translate that, we also use AI to put the cultural context around it, and that's the cultural context of use of AI, because AI tells the rest of the story. So the artisan tells their story, and AI sort of weaves the rest of the culture around it, and tells us, how it's linked to the traditions and culture of that specific region or country. And we've been very successful at that. Then we validate that. We don't let we know we are in the early days of Gen AI, so we cannot, unfortunately, 100% trust it. So we put a human layer
Right.
above it, which is verified with the local authorities, local experts, and hence the result of that is gradually we are building a cultural experiences, or artisanal craft related cultural stories of the entire world, which is probably the first time in the history of the world that's being done at the scale that we are doing it. So we are really proud of that.
That's amazing because I love this cultural context AI because I know that cultural exchange is at the heart of all the experiences that Tuzmo enables. You yourself, I guess, both of a couple questions here. What you've seen from cultural context AI, your
Mhm.
own experiences in visiting nearly 100 different countries and cultures. Do you have any tips or maybe best practices that tourists and artisans, I think it's important, um, can follow in order to create more meaningful and respectful interactions? Like
Sure.
what comes to mind?
Yeah, happy to. But before I get to that, I go to the previous question again, just very
The
quickly. So
awards.
the awards, yeah. How can we forget that?
I'm like
So
I'm a cultural nut. You if you watch Dojo Live, you know that it excites me so
No,
much.
I'll be
So I
very
gotta
quick
hand
about
to
it.
myself.
This has been a very exciting couple of weeks for us. Just in the last 3 weeks, we have Dojo Live is the icing on the cake. But in the 2 weeks prior to that, we were on the stage as a panelist in the Tourism Innovation Summit, and the topic was sustainability, cultural sustainability, and impact. So it was very nice to be able to share our ideas alongside some of the best known travel names. Uh, so it was an honor for us. We were also this year we are in the cohort for Travel for Impact, which is a global program by IE University and Amadeus. So we're very, very, very proud of that. My co-founder is attending that. And then we just last week we were on the stage in London at WTM World Travel Market, one of the five travel tech company, one of the eight travel tech companies from around the world who were finalists for the pitch battle for startups, for travel startups. So it was a huge honor for us as well. So, and here I am sitting in front of you, and I really enjoy this one. So we consider this an honor as well. So
Oh,
we love the recognition, not because we are greedy for that, but it really is spreading our message, because we feel that we are doing a very important mission in the travel industry, which nobody else is doing, and we need as many supporters, as many believers to spread the message, and also to help us achieve that. We need partners. We can't do it without partners, destinations, artisan associations, tourists themselves, individuals, as well as groups and organizations, OTAs, you name it. So we are looking for as many partners as possible. We'll be delighted to work with any number of those. Now, coming to your next question, um, yeah, in terms of best practices and tips, I think I'll be maybe preaching to the choir here, to the experienced travelers. But some of the things that I've learned that is one is before you go to the trip is the preparation, right? I mean, learning about that culture. And we have many more tools available now than we did in the past, right? Including, of course, Wikipedia and travel databases, as the even ChatGPT or all these platforms give us very good answers in terms of what to look for, and what are the special features of a destination. So preparation is important. Learning about the culture before you go there, and also what's special about that culture and destination. The other is what I call seek authenticity. Don't just go with the just follow the run of the mill stuff, right? Or don't go for the low hanging fruit, right? I mean, buying from a hotel shop or airport shop is easy, but both expensive, as well as probably you're going to end up with non-authentic stuff, right? So do the hard work. I'm not trying to sell my platform, but find a way to find authentic stuff that you can then be really proud of. So those are just a couple of tips.
Absolutely. I love it. Thank you. And I was also curious, we mentioned 98, right? It's a 98 count.
Yeah, somewhere.
On a recent conversation we had with Custodio Barreros here on dojolive, he was mentioning emerging markets. His perspective and what he sees shifting now is everything's kind of going east. He expects us in places like Saudi Arabia and elsewhere. I'm curious what your take is on the emerging markets where you're expecting sort of this biggest potential growth in terms of geographic areas and strategic opportunities for you, for other tourists. What should we be paying attention to?
Yeah, 100%. I think you and your colleague are 100% right. There's a wake up to generally tourism, and especially cultural tourism, in many markets in the world, and especially in the East. Saudi Arabia is a big one. Oman is another one in that region. UAE, all of these countries are spending. Qatar, they're spending a lot on highlighting their tourism potential, as well as the cultural tourism potential. As we go further east, I think the Southeast Asian countries, Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines, are massive, massive tourism destinations, and they are on our map as well. Because countries are interesting for us for their cultural heritage, and all of these countries have a huge amount of cultural heritage. Then countries in Central Asia, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, and places like that have tremendous cultural heritage. My birth country, Pakistan, where a lot of our content team and a lot of our tech team is based, is also rich in culture and heritage. Then many Eastern European countries we are very active in. In fact, the first European country was not from Eastern Europe. We just formed a partnership in Spain, in a city which is unfortunately under some stress right now, Valencia. We launched there in June, and we have some amazing artisans from there. And then from Africa, of course, has been our strong hub. I just visited Senegal, which was my country number 98, actually. And Senegal, we hired a local representative, so we are going live there very soon. Has an amazing cultural heritage and arts and crafts scene. South Africa, we also went live with our partner, and it provides tremendous potential. So we have countries in South and Central America, like Belize. We are going live in the next few months. in Argentina, Colombia, and Brazil in the next few months. So we're very, very excited that we are actually find these opportunities and amazing partners from around the world. I'm sure I've missed some very important ones that we are working on, but these are the ones that pop up in my mind right away.
Perfect. And if there's any doubt, people can just go online or download. I think that's as we're coming to the final minute or minutes of the conversation today. That was my final question. You know, how might tourists, hoteliers, um, ministries, how can they be a part of this movement? What you're doing, the best way to get involved with Tuzmo.
Yeah, the best way is to for the tourists and travelers to download the app and play with it. And next time you travel, hopefully we are in that destination. Try us out, or if you're not in that destination, give us some feedback. Maybe a destination you would love to see us in, but at least download the app and become a member of the family. For our and for artisans, of course, they can also download the app, enroll online, or reach out to one of our representatives, and we'll be happy to help them enroll. And for the third level of partners, that's where our biggest need is. We are seeking to partner with country and city and region destinations. So if you want your artisans in your destination to have global visibility, we would love to partner with you and show you how we can put you on the map of cultural tourism and make you and really work with you in highlighting a beautiful aspect of your tourism.
I love it. You, Rana, are available on LinkedIn, I believe, and the Tuzmo website. I think we can pull that up here in just a
Yeah,
second.
and partners can email us at or potential partners can email us at partners@tuzmo.com.
Partners@tuzmo.com. Thank
Yeah.
you. Well, any other final words of wisdom that you'd like to share with our audience today?
No, let's. The only message is let's together make tourism special, and the best way to make
Mm.
tourism special is to travel often and always connect with locals. Local culture and enrich your travel wherever you go in the world.
Yeah, I forgive me for I don't want to kind of steal your thunder, but it reminds me of at the hospitality show, I had the pleasure of listening to Jose Andres speak, world-renowned chef, and
Mhm.
he also has an organization that helps bring food and other supplies when places are hit hard with natural disasters and other things. And he was mentioning fresh off of the hurricanes and things that were going on in Asheville and the United States and other places, and he said, if you want to help, show up. And I
Exactly.
think for me that was a very key, because I think it's easy to have this misconception of something has happened, I'll just wait. And that's maybe the one of the if we want to help, the best thing we can do is show up, not wait, and go and start bringing these resources and this new lifeblood back into the communities
Absolutely,
and the countries.
absolutely. And in many of these countries, not to extend the show here, but many of these
No?
countries, being in these places to meet the artisans can make the difference because it brings the much needed economic opportunity, something we talked about earlier, to the places which are desperately in need. Because in the current equation, the artisans only get a fraction of revenue for their work. So if they produce something and a supplier picks it up or a distributor picks it up and exports it or something, they're getting literally pennies to the dollar, right? So for our estimate is not never more than 15%. So if
Wow.
you and I are buying an artifact for let's say $100, the artisan is not getting more than $15 for that work. So we want to disrupt that, turn it upside down. The artisan should get about 85% of the final value. Yeah,
Flipping it, absolute
totally upside down.
180. Yes, and also encouraging and helping to guarantee that this awesome heritage continues, and there's a
Absolutely.
reason for people to learn and to pass it on and to choose that to be their livelihood. So
And people have said
absolutely.
that to us directly that that's what a platform like this can do for us. It can save us from giving up this trade and moving to doing
Mhm.
something else. If we have a way of selling to the world directly, we would continue to do that, and we'll continue to teach our next generations how to do this. So the heritage continues if there's an outlet like this. Otherwise, it dies down.
Absolutely. Rana, as always, it has been a pleasure speaking with you today. I wish you and the amazing Tuzmo team, all the artisans out there, all the ministries, and all the tourists getting involved, nothing but the best. And hopefully, this has a very much a heritage of its own now and in years to come.
Thank you so much, Kim, for the opportunity. We always love talking to you and your audience.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Stick around for just a moment as we go off air. But before we do, I would like to remind our audience that we've got 2 more shows coming up this week. Next will be on Thursday the 14th. That is with Colum McPherson, who is the CEO of Oblo. He's going to be talking about how AI meets hospitality, crafting personalized experiences at record speeds. And we'll follow that up with an unusual day to go going live here in Dojo Live, a Friday show. Friday at 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific, we're going to be having breakthroughs and predictions from the Hospitality Show 2024. Joining us with their experience and expertise are Scott Pusillo of Sabre, as well as Josh Graham of Cloudbeds, and my co-host, Shudar Padmanabhan of Ancora. So we'll see you both Thursday and Friday at 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific. And bye for now. Thank you, Rana.
Bye.